We are here with Randy Taylor, who is the CEO of Everi, a unique company in the gaming industry in that they have two significantly different kinds of businesses, yet in some ways have complementary businesses, and that is the games side and the fintech side. Give us, having that as an introduction, Randy, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And also must mention that Everi is a sponsor of the Emerging Insight video interviews that Fantini Research does throughout the year, so we appreciate that support.
You are very welcome.
So given that introduction about the nature of your business, give us an overview on Everi and where you hope to be in the next year or two.
Well, I think you started it well, which is there are two different business segments here, games and fintech. But we do believe they're very complementary. There's a lot of crossover, I think, more than people know and understand. But stepping back, games, we acquired this business in 2014. And since then, have really expanded the products and different swim lanes that the games business is in. So we're now, we produce slot machines for both Class 2 and Class 3. We are in all swim lanes. I would say there's certain markets that we're not in, but I'll talk a little bit about that as to where we want to go in a couple years. We build standard games, mechanical games, premium games, and we also have wide area progressives. So, it's grown significantly since 2014. And we think there's still growth in that business. We also have a gaming ops business. So we own about 17,500 plus machines that are leased into commercial and tribal properties. And so that's our gaming ops business, which has grown very steadily over the last few years. We've also entered into a digital product. So we have a Spark, we'll call it a remote game server that provides our digital gaming content to iGaming casinos. So, and I guess two other things. We also have the central determinant system for the video lottery terminals in New York. And recently, we acquired a studio down in Florida that will now help us enter into the HHR market, so the historical horse racing. So that's one area that we haven't been in that we expect to move into. So as I look forward for games, I look at it and say, we continue to invest in studios. We talked about the one in Florida. We've also acquired assets in Australia, and we're setting up a game studio in Australia. And then we've added a studio in Austin. So we continue to focus on content. That's how we believe we grow our ship share and how we grow our install base. And so we think there's a lot of runway on the game side with a new vertical like historical horse racing. And I think eventually we'll get into distributed gaming as well, like in Illinois and Canada. On the fintech side, it's a much more complicated. I don't want to say complicated, but it has a lot more products to it. So we start out with our cash access services, which is really cashless and cash products that are provided at the casino to the patrons to transact, on the gaming floor. Alongside that, we've acquired loyalty products and compliance products over the last couple of years, which continue to add to our software revenue that we generate. And then for both cash access and loyalty, we have kiosks, self-service kiosks that are there to really help efficiencies on the casino floor and bring a better experience to the patron. It should be ease of experience on that floor, and one of those products that has a lot of buzz to it is our wallet. So we have a digital wallet that we've rolled out to a number of casinos. I think we're deployed or looking to deploy in about 38 casinos in 14 jurisdictions, and eventually will be somewhere around 74,000 machines that are attached to it. And so that's rolling out. We think over time that will be a growth driver for us. It's still kind of in the early stages. And we just recently acquired some assets of a company called Venuetize, which will actually take us a little bit outside of gaming. It's a mobile platform, engagement platform for sports venues, other entertainment venues, and hospitality. And so again, a mobile platform that allows, they're integrated with, apps like, being able to order food, purchase your tickets, things of that nature, and we think that really overlaps well with gaming. So we think both sides of this business can really grow, and they really do complement each other. And the one place I would say that is on the loyalty side, we now have what we'll call you can set up your turn event self-service. So you can go to one of our loyalty kiosks and schedule your tournament. And so again, we've sold the tournament product into our casinos, which is an ability for casinos to run slot tournaments, and now the patrons can do it on their own. So that we see more and more crossover benefits between these two businesses.
Yeah. One of the things that I think has been interesting about Everi on the fintech side is that you have, as you just described, diversified the business into a lot of value added, because that was always, from an investor point of view, that was always one of the concerns, is that cash access itself is a commodity business, and it's very price sensitive, and the contract goes to the lowest bidder. But you've been able to develop these other products that allow you to maintain profitable growth in that business.
Exactly, and to your point, the other software services like AML, our compliance products, or loyalty, really help us sell and retain those longer term contracts. And we also are able to sometimes marry that with leased products on the floor. So we bring what I'll call whole solution sale to the operator, and it allows us to continue that relationship and really bring them the products that they want and continue that cash access business.
You mentioned digital wallet, and cashless gaming is an area you guys have been excited about for a while now. How well is that rolling out, and how potentially big can it be for your company?
I think it's rolled out consistent with what we expected. I think there's a lot of chatter out there that tomorrow everything will go cashless. And my point has always been, if you look at over the last couple of years, or even the last year with the gaming coming back, most of our customers have had record years and they don't have a cashless wallet yet, or they have some portion. We look at it as an extension of our current business, right? I don't know that cash, not for a while anyway, maybe 5 years, 8 years out, someday maybe we'll all be doing transactions on our phone, but before then, there's going to still be a fair amount of transactions that are done through cash. So we look at it as an additive to our portfolio of products for our customers. And we think that if we bring in some of these Venuetize and other mobile platforms, you can also tie into other things we have, tie loyalty into it, right? How do we incentivize the customer to come in and use a wallet? Maybe you can do it through loyalty points. I think we continue to want to integrate more and more with the wallet so that it's a full service of products for the customer.
On the game side, you have adopted a goal of 15% ship share. How did you arrive at that number, and how do you assure that as your folks pursue that goal, they are doing so profitably?
It's a great question. I'm not sure the number has a lot of science to it, but I'll say, step back, that one, when we acquired Multimedia, they probably had a ship share of less than 5%. And when we brought in Dean Ehrlich, who's our EVP and games business leader, his first goal that he set was 10%. And I think Dean had a lot of science behind that. Felt like, look, this was a company that had good product or could generate better product, and going from, let's say, 5 to 10 is something that he felt very comfortable with. I think he's now set his goal at 15%, and I think that's just kind of a natural progression. I think Dean looks at it and says, look, with the investments we're making in additional studios, we've added a studio in Austin, the one in Australia that we're working on, the one in Florida, and we're putting actually some additional resources here in Las Vegas. He feels like we have the studios, and he's very confident in the ability to generate the games that would allow us to go from 10 to 15%. You have a great question of can we keep the profitability and the margins that we have. I think that's his job. I think he feels very comfortable that he can do that. But as in my view, as the higher you go up on that ship share, the more difficult it is, and he understands that. But we feel very comfortable that with what we put together and the studios that we have and the products that we're developing, we feel good about it.
Right. Well, if you achieve that, and actually you've already achieved that in some areas, I believe you've mentioned.
We have. We mentioned that, like at the recent opening at Sky River, we received a very good ship share, I think just under 15%. And that's in pockets and in new openings, but really it's overall we want to be at 15%. So I still think there's some work to be done, but we feel very good about that.
We've seen the gaming industry subject to a lot of external forces over the past few years, whether it's the evolution of COVID, inflation, worries about recession, supply chain issues, and so on, that you've had to manage through. But you had mentioned a few minutes ago that even with that, you see your customers as remaining strong and maintaining their buying intentions?
We are at this point, Frank. We really are. We have not, we've not seen a change just yet in their buying appetite. We also look at, if it's a good product, it's going to get on the floor, and so we've not seen from I'll say the casino operators any change to this point in time. We can meet their demand, and the demand is still pretty solid from our standpoint. And I also look at the patrons, and we have a little bit of a unique viewpoint on that, which is
right.
just the cash to the floor. So we look how much cash is being put to the floor at these casinos, and we're still seeing growth. Year over year, not what we saw in 21 to 20, right? Because that was a lot of pent-up demand and a lot of reasons that people were going to casinos because it was like the only entertainment out there. But we're still seeing growth in 22 over 21, and so I think operators are still seeing that, and we're seeing that.
You've just finished an investor presentation yesterday, so this is a question that's probably fresh in your mind. What is the investment thesis for Everi?
So I say it up quickly now from our standpoint is it's cash is king. I think what investors are looking for are companies now that are profitable and also generating free cash flow. There may still be a disconnect between our share price and the cash flow that we're producing and the growth that we're doing there. But I think over time that disconnect will come back, and I think that's what investors want. Can this company generate cash flow? Can it then take that cash flow and properly allocate it to either organic internal investments, M&A, tuck-in type investments, and then ultimately, if we're not getting, I guess the love that we think we should from a growth company, we should be out, if it makes sense, repurchasing shares until that disconnect comes back.
We're G2E, where everyone wants to see the biggest, the newest, and the best. What are some of the must-see products at your booth?
Okay. I would say on the game side, we have a new cabinet called the Dynasty View. I think it's kind of a must-see to stop by. It's a little bit different size, a little bit smaller, but a nice size portrait. It almost looks like a dual screen in a single screen. And we had fair amount of G2E pre-meetings coming up to this, and got really good feedback from our customers. So I'm excited to see how the customers really do react, obviously with their buying decisions. Second of all, on the fintech side, we're going to have the representatives from Venuetize there. So I would like to, I think if you're looking for something new, you should come and talk to them and see what they're doing with their mobile product and how they're engaging and they are in sports and other entertainment venues, and how we think we're going to kind of marry that with our gaming footprint. And on top of that, again, what we continue to do on the wallet. I stress to people, look, we've been working on our wallet for a long time. I'm obviously biased, but I think we have the best product there. I think it integrates the best. I think it has integrations with our other products like paying out of Jackpot Express, which again is our compliance product. There's other products that we integrate to that I think makes our wallet a very robust product. And then finally, I would say if you're in the iGaming space, you should come by and see really our RGS and how we're delivering our games to the digital or iGaming casinos. We've been very successful there. We look to probably double the amount of games next year. So we think we have a really good backlog and pipeline to deliver there. So those would be the three that I'd focus on.
Okay, great. Very good overview, Randy. Final thoughts. Anything else you would like folks to understand about Everi?
I just would end with I think that we feel the future is bright, and I know that's hard to talk about right now when people are thinking about inflation and rising interest rates. But for Everi, we feel really good about where we sit. We have more products to deliver to our customers. We're going into new geographies, Australia. We'll bring Australian products. That's one I forgot to talk about a little bit, was our eCash. The units that they produce can come here to the U.S. We're doing that. You can see those units at our booth. So, and then just our core business. Our install base is up from last year. We do think there's growth in Everi, and I know it's sometimes difficult for people to say, well, that just can't be the case. So far, that's what we see.
Okay. Randy, very interesting and informative. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate your time.